接下来这场演讲，讲师是来自 Doctrine 共同创办人韦德，题目为如何建立并经营出友善强健的玩家社群。
Hey everyone, so I'm Vlad from Doctrine. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to build a robust and friendly community and how you should manage it. Right, so let's just get on with it right away. So who am I? My name is Vlad, or Wade. So I'm one of the co-founders of Doctrine. So for now, we launched about 12 games since 2015. Sold a bunch of copies, so 3 million games sold worldwide, more or less, a bit more probably by now. So I actually built up our whole community from scratch. So we started with 0 when we still were in China, and now we're about to 12,000 people in our Discord server alone. And this doesn't count all the Steam people and outside communities that are not in our Discord server. So this talk is focused on the basics of building up your community from scratch and how to pick your moderators, what tools you should be using, and overall activities to keep your server happy and invested in your company or in your game. So why would you bother with the community, right? People keep asking that because if you're a small developer, you don't have that much time and resources, and it also costs some money to run this. The biggest thing is it will boost your visibility, right? You will get fans that will like your game, will be interested in your game, and they will tell you their parents, their friends, their roommates, their schoolmates, whatever. But that will also nurture super fans, and those people are very important because they will then go out on social media, they will go out on Steam, and they will promote your game, and they will hype it up to their streamers or friends they're playing with. So you will get that extra exposure. And of course, you will spend less money on marketing because, like I mentioned just now, you will have, like, let's say like a mini army or so of fans and super fans who will help you promote the game. They will go to Reddits, they will go to forums, they will go to PPTs, and they will talk about the game, share things about the game, share the screenshots, videos, and it's more valuable than paid ad because organic posts like that usually drive a lot more value, and people see if it's coming organically and not just a promoted post from the developer. They were more keen to go to Steam and check out your game, wishlist the game, or go to your Discord and check out the community. And another very important point is a healthy community gives your game and your company credibility. So that means when you're looking for funding, for example, or you're looking for investment, it's a big bonus is if you also have a healthy community to show for it. So the investors or your potential publishers will see that, oh, okay, so this game already has like a few hundred people or a few thousand people in their Discord or in Steam discussions, and players seem to be excited. They post about the game, they talk about it, they share some things that they like and things like that. So if you have an active community, it also a really nice proof of concept for other people that you want to work with, because it shows that there is interest and you also manage to build something with players that like your game. So that's also one thing that you would need to keep in mind when you're setting this up. So that's one of the big reasons why you need this. Right, so what are we going to be talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about a few things that you would need to prepare for starting your community or maybe improving. So first things first is Steam. Now, not a lot of people think about it. I see so many indie games where their Steam forums or Steam discussions are completely barren or ignored. There's no structure, there's nothing, just clutter, some random posts in like 5 different languages, and nobody's answering those things. So you need to take care of your Steam pages, your store pages. You need to make sure it's localized in all the languages. You need to take care of your forums, that your discussions are properly set up, you have the right pin post ready and posted, and that you use also the Steam announcement system, because that helps. Every little bit you use in Steam helps also with the Steam algorithm to promote your game. Now, the second thing we're going to be talking about is Discord/Guilded. I put Guilded because it's still very early stage, but it's a good platform to keep an eye on. So maybe like in 3-4 years, it will surpass Discord, maybe not, but it has a lot of cool features, and it's a good thing to maybe bookmark your name, your URL of your company or your game there and just keep it, but you don't have to focus on it right now. You can check it out and see what you can do, but right now Discord is still the main place where you should be funneling all of your community. So we're going to be talking about Discord, how to set it up, what are the best practices, you know, how you should recruit moderators, what should you do in the server, what type of events, what type of bots, and, you know, what you should watch out for and how to kind of build it up from scratch and keep your community active. I also put social channels. I'm not going to be really talking about that. I just wanted to mention that, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you use, although it's social media oriented, it's a really good thing that helps you funnel all the people, all the players to your Discord or to your Steam. So that's one thing that you shouldn't forget, that, you know, sometimes you should post, and if you post about your game, you can always add like, oh, hey, if you want to know more, if you want to talk to our developers, you can always come to our Discord and chat with us. So I'm not going to be covering that, just a thing to keep in mind that social media can also help out a lot with building, especially in the beginning. Right, so for Steam, what are the things you need to keep an eye on? So we have, like I mentioned, discussion boards. So these are your Steam forums where people post just general questions, their feedback. They can submit bug reports and just talk about your game in general. Then, you know, storefront page where you get your, you know, your description where they can buy the game from. So we need that to be localized in all the languages that your game is coming out with. And of course, you need to make sure that those languages are localized properly and not some janky Google translation. And the third thing is you need to use the community features that Steam gives you, like all the announcements, the streams, the demos, the playtest, all of that. Like you have to make use of that to the max, because that will help you grow the community, and Steam will appreciate you using their tools, which in turn will please the algorithm, which in turn will show your game to more people. Okay, so here are the, you know, the discussion examples. So for example, every time we set up a new game on Steam, like before we're about to announce it to the public, we set up just a few basic topics and pinned posts in the discussion and the forum settings. So like you can see, we have a pinned post for bug collection. So we do, so you can put their, you know, bug description, whatever. So we pin it, so it's always on top, and when people encounter any bugs, they can just use the format we provided and put and make their post there. Of course, you can change it to whatever you want or whatever you're looking for players to get, so it doesn't have to be exactly what I put here, but it's just an example. Then another thing is, you know, we also pin and lock partner Discord server posts, so people see like, okay, if I want to talk to the developers directly and have that fast line of communication, here is the Discord server or Guilded server that I can access. So it's a nice thing to have that stuff also there. And then a third thing, we post Steam group and Steam page. So now we're a publisher, so it's a little bit different for us because we have our, you know, dedicated publisher page and things like that on Steam. But if you do have your developer page where you have, like, you know, several games you worked on in the past, or you're just starting up, it's a good idea to use that because it will gain extra followers. That means you will have more places to post announcements at, more people, more eyes on your announcements on your product, pleasing the Steam algorithm. So the more of these tools you use, the better. Oh, and another thing we added, like you can have different different languages in the forum. So you can have the main forum. In our case, it's mostly always English. And then you can set up another forum which says, you know, for the Chinese speakers or Russian speakers or whatever language you want to add. And then it sets up a separate forum in Steam, and you can add all the same topics, but just in that language. So that helps a lot, and players really appreciate this thing, so it's not messy. Okay, so we can move on. And the Steam page, Steam store page. So there's a few things you need to take care of. Like I keep saying, you need to make sure that your localization is on point. So there's so many indie games I've seen that did a very, very bad job when it comes to the localization of their storefront. So you see that their English is very bad, or it's just some broken Google Translate, and maybe a friend helped them and their English wasn't that good. So you have to keep in mind that English localization is important. So as an example, you can see with the Legend of Tianding, what we did is we also localized the animated GIFs we made. So you can have all these GIFs that showcase the game, make it cool in English, and then you also have them in traditional Chinese, and the store page is localized in traditional Chinese. So if you're having issues, just hire someone to help you out and polish the English, because it makes your game more accessible and more presentable, and it really helps a lot. Now, there are also a few things you can add to your store page. You have these little special sections that you can modify. So what we did, for example, in July, we're going to have this big Neon Doctrine beta event. So we put these little clickable GIFs where people can click and sign up for a closed beta, and we say that they will get credited in the game, which they will if they submit feedback. So that when you click on that, it links you to a Google form where they can submit their email and some details. And then once the demo's out, we notify them via their email. Now, the good point of this is we get more interest, but all those people who submitted their emails, we can also use them to add to our mailing list, and as a part of our announcement when the game comes out, or when there's updates, or when we announce a new game. So it also adds more value to that. And a lot of them will also end up joining your Discord. Another thing we added is you can add just a little animated GIF telling people to wishlist the game. So that helps a lot. You always have to remind them, because players need to be reminded all the time. And another thing we do add in our descriptions is just an image with the Discord, and you make the image as a link. So when they click on it, it takes them to the Discord. So pretty much like everywhere you can, you want to funnel all these people into your Discord server, so you get a nice community going. That's where you start. That's how it starts growing. So once you've done that, we have a third thing you can check out, and this is the Steam community features, right? So these are the features and the announcements that you can see when you first set up your app. You set up your app, and in the partner network, you can scroll all the way down and you see visit the community hub, which is the Steam discussions we just talked about, and then post and manage events and announcements. Now, these tools, they're constantly updated by Steam, but still not so many developers use them, but they're very valuable. So for example, right now we have the Steam Fest that was going on in June. So you can make an announcement with that one for your live stream. You need pretty much every time something happens on Steam with your game or your community, you should make an announcement out of it. That's a game update or a discount, or there's an in-game event, or you want to make it like a speedrun challenge, or you're going to do a live stream on Steam, or you want to do an AMA, or there's like some big updates. So every time you announce something big, I definitely advise using this feature, because again, the more you use it, the more people see that you are actually trying to interact with your community, that you're an active developer, that there's always something interesting happening with your game. And that helps a lot, because a lot of the time what we see on Steam is people saying, oh, the game is really cool, but I haven't seen any posts from the developer in like 4 months, so I don't know what's happening. Is it coming out or not? And then they unwishlist the game and forget about it. So if you keep using these features, these announcements, it really helps you keep the game still in the player's mind, and it shows them that you're an active developer and you're actually still participating and talking to the people. So that really is a big plus. Now on the big one, so Discord, right? So what do you need to do when it comes to Discord? So my first thing I always tell developers is you set up your server. Once you have a few people in there, 5-10 people is even enough. Just go get verified. It's a very easy process, and you as a developer and you have your own game that you can show in works. You get verification very easily. So you get a bunch of perks, but most important one is that you can get your custom URL. So then you can put your games as your game name or your company name, and that helps a lot with visibility and just pure consistency, and so people can click on that link and they know it's not a scam and just visit it, and it's aesthetically more pleasing than some random numbers and letters, whatever. So another thing that you need to get is to get a bunch of bots. Well, not a bunch, but a few that help with certain things like moderation or some community activities. Then you need to prepare events. So you have to have consistent events and some things going on in the server to keep community fresh and active. Another thing you need to do is set up a communication pipeline for your feedback, bug reports, or suggestions, so people in the server have a place where they can post all of those, and all of that gets posted to your QA team or to the developer directly. And another one big thing that's my pet peeve is avoid channel clutter, because so many servers I go and it's like You enter and it's like 55 channels, like right off the bat of whatever. And it's just too much, you know. People don't like it as much. It's too crazy. It's overwhelming, and you know, sometimes they just like, oh no, and they just leave. So just keep it simple in the beginning. You don't need like 30 channels. Keep it simple in the beginning, and then later on just evolve your server and build it up depending on what your community wants. But in the beginning, you don't need to make 40, 50 channels. That's absolutely not necessary. Right, next one. So people usually ask like, oh, how do we go on about getting mods? So what worked for us over these past like 5 years or so is we just identify most passionate and active players in our community and just message them being like, hey, would you be interested in helping out being a moderator? And that's pretty much it. It's very, very, very simple as that. I found that setting up like application forms and things like that is too much work, extra work, because you need to do interviews and check and blah, blah, blah. But most of the time, if it's just a active member of your community, it's a lot better and easier to get them on board as a mod because they already like your product. They're always active, they're always talking, they're participating, they're encouraging other players. So find these types of people to help you out, because later on, like I said, they will become your super fan. So they will help you promote the game on social media and will tell everybody about it. So these are the people you want to be your moderators. And of course, preferably if you can, you want to separate it into different time zones. So somebody's always online during America time, Europe time, Australia time. So that helps a lot. So another thing you want to keep in mind is like weekly and monthly events to keep your server fresh and running. So for example, we do like weekly, bi-weekly trivia where we have a few bots and, you know, they ask questions and then people answer the questions and we run it for an hour. And people really love it. They love like Q&A, bar trivia type of things, and it works. It's very easy to set up, but it really helps with keeping people interested and, you know, active. Another thing you can do is developer streams. So those are nice and they're easy to do as a developer because you can just literally pop into Discord, share your screen, and then talk to people while you're doing some art or when you're rendering an animation or making a 3D model. They find that interesting, and it's also a very huge plus for you because, you know, they see that you're engaging with the community, you're talking to them, answering questions. So these things help and they're not hard to do. Another thing that we also did is, you know, open and closed betas or demo festivals in our Discord. So that also gives a very huge boost to your server because people interested in your game will want to play it or test it out. And you can also market it as an exclusive thing only in your server. So then they will have to join. And then if they submit feedback, they get credited in the game, and it helps them feel like they're being part of the development team or part of the whole process, which they are. So these types of events also keep your Discord fresh and active, and it helps to keep the community alive and interested. Now, the last thing is quite simple. Just play games with them. It doesn't have to be your game, or it doesn't have to be like your demo. It could be just whatever games, you know, Overwatch, Among Us, Minecraft, whatever, you name it. You know, everybody's a gamer, so you can just play games you like with them. If they're multiplayer or something like that, it's fine. It doesn't have to be anything special, but it does help build up that more personal connection, so it doesn't seem that you're always constantly shilling your product or shilling your game. So these things help. Now, I was talking about suggestion, feedback, and bugs. So there are a few bots you can use for that. So you can see for suggestions, we use Gaius Serious, which is one of the bots. So yeah, the player types a command and then it sends the suggestion to a channel that is open to everyone. And then people can vote yes or no on the suggestion. And from that, you can see if it's something that server wants, like maybe some new channel or some type of event, thing like that. And it helps you kind of understand what the community is more interested in more. And then you can tailor the experience to, you know, feed the beast. I think it helps a lot with just general feedback or game suggestions. Now for big game feedback, we personally use that for open betas or demo events, and we just use Google Forms, and then, you know, they fill it out, and we get a lot of responses when it comes to those things. But you can do something else, like you can also use the suggestion bot, or you can use like webhooks or whatever. But we just stick with Google Forms because it's easy to set up and it's easy to change, and it takes you like 2 minutes to get this all going. Now for bugs, there are a few ways to go about it. We have our own webhook. So the way we did it is when somebody posts the template of a bug report in a special bug channel, it gets automatically reposted to our Q&A Trello board with all the images or videos attached. So there's several ways of doing it. You can use a bot, or you can just use Zapier as a webhook. So it's like, oh, if somebody posts in this channel, it gets reposted to Trello. It doesn't have to be Trello. There's a bunch of other Trello-like programs that they can do the same thing. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. Hell, they can even post it to Excel if you wanted. But we found the Trello integration the easiest, and it's easy for players as well. I mean, ideally, of course, you want it all to go to Steam and go for there, but you know, in the Discord server, they don't have to go to some fifth party platform to make it work. So that helps. That helps a lot, having that set up. So which bots should you use, right? So I mentioned Gaius Caesarius the most. They have a paid version and they have a free version. The paid version is only $3 a month, but you don't really need it unless you want to do some very fancy things. But this bot is really good for moderation. Can't stress it enough. So if somebody spams like invite links or phishing links or inappropriate pictures or floods or trolls the chat, all of that gets deleted before anybody even sees it. So it's a really, really good mod tool. So in our case, we rarely have to take any action because all of your regular spammy trolley stuff gets filtered out by this bot before it even hits the general chat. So this one is really good, and the setup is not that hard. There's quite a lot of cool features you can do with it, and it's honestly, if you ask me, it's like the best one out there. It's invaluable. Then we also use Me6 a lot. It released an update a few months ago, and there's a lot of cool stuff with it now. For example, you have reaction roles, which means that, like you can see, we set up a channel, and a lot of our other channels are locked behind the role to declutter the server. So every time they pick a reaction, they get a role, and that channel opens up. So it can be like different languages, like we have here with like, you know, Chinese and Russian, or it could be some special channels or extra channels for different game, because we have like 15-16 different games and we don't want them to be open right away because it's just overwhelming. So we use reaction roles to limit what they can see when they join, and later on they can decide what channels they want to open up and pretty much kind of like tailor the server to their own needs. You can also make custom commands. So what we did is, instead of having information channel for every of our games, we just made a custom command for every game. So if somebody types King Ding, pops up with an embed saying Legend of King Ding, this is the type of game, here's the Steam page, here's the trailer, here's a little image, and that's it. And then from there they can go to the Steam page or watch the trailer or whatever they want to do. And then we also set up a server economy with Me6, so people can do certain commands and they earn our coins, and with those coins they can buy like special roles or special access, or for example Steam keys that we give away for free, so they can use these little commands to do every day. And then once a week we have a big event where we open up the casino, so they can play dice, roulette, or rock paper scissors to, you know, double their money or, you know, lose money. And that helps a lot as well, because like once a week everybody gets super active as well for this thing and be like, oh my god, yeah, let's go spend all the money, make some money so I can spend more money. So it's another thing that you can have as an action when it comes to your community. And honestly, Me6, inside of their dashboard, there's quite a lot of cool things that you can play with. Just have a look and see what do you think fits. Again, you don't have to do all of this in the beginning because it's going to be overwhelming. Just start building up all of these little activities one by one throughout the months or years of your community. Again, some people will like this, some people will don't, so you just kind of figure out what works for you. Not everything we do might work for you, so it really depends on the type of players that like your game. So for the takeaway, it's just quite simple. So if you're asking, oh, when should I start the community? You should probably start it already before last month, a year ago. So start as early as you can. And like I said, you don't have to start big. You can keep it simple in the beginning and just slowly build it up as you go on and as the community grows, and then you can see what they want, or what they like, or what works and what doesn't. Be consistent. I can't stress this enough. You have to be consistent. So if you have those events, keep it consistent and show up, because consistency is key, honestly. And it shows that you're active and you're engaging, and your players will keep coming back, and they will keep staying in the server because there's always stuff happening. They're excited, and it's great. Another thing is, like, you need to be active as well in your server. Obviously, like, you can't be active 24/7 or like 8-10 hours a day, always be sitting there, because you need to be making your game. But what we found out, like 1-2 times a day, like in the morning, pop in, talk to them. In the evening, pop in, talk to them, see what's going on. That's enough in the beginning. Like, you can't sit there for 8 hours non-stop talking. That's just not possible. But a few times a day is more than enough. And another important thing is, like, you have to give players a reason to be part of the community, right? Not just because they like the game, but like, this feeling of home and camaraderie helps a lot. That's why I say, don't have to always shield your product, but you can always just play games together, hang out, talking voice chat, do some movie nights, things like that. They always help when it comes to building up a community, and it makes it feel more genuine. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me right now, because we're very short in time. It was like 25-30 minutes. So I can't really go into detail on all of this, but I hope this helps out to give you a better understanding of the groundwork from where you can start building up your community. And of course, if you have any more questions about like tools or bots or webhooks or whatever for Discord or Steam, feel free to message me on Twitter or message me on Discord or email me. Also, if you go to our website, neondoctrine.com, you can set up video calls with me on our page there. So I'm always down for a chat. So yeah, if you want to know more details and things like that, feel free to message me, and can always talk about it. Yeah. And I guess right now we're gonna go to the text chat and answer some of your questions. But yeah, thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. I'm available pretty much 24/7 when I'm not sleeping or publishing games. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it.